We are living in a real estate market that home buyers and homeowners sentiment is shifted by the minute. This sentiment shift is not because of what's actually happening in the market. The shift is because of the most recent headline. Yes, we are in a crisis right now, but it's not a housing crisis. It's an information crisis about housing. Welcome to the Martini Mortgage Podcast. My name is Kevin Martini, and this is a very special episode that I'm calling 4 Stages of Buyer Demand. Before I start mixing up this episode, let me make those legal folks happy. So, the primary purpose of this podcast series is to inform, entertain, and educate. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast series does not constitute legal or other professional advice, opinions, or endorsements of any kind. This is episode 173 of the Martini Mortgage Podcast, which I should really call How Home Buyers Can Use the 4 Stages of Home Buyer Demand to Maximum Advantage. Again, my name is Kevin Martini, and I am a certified mortgage advisor and producing branch manager at NMLS 143962 with the Martini Mortgage Group at Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group Corporation, NMLS 3446, equal housing lender. Before I start digging into a powerful strategy, let me state a fact. Are you ready? Wait for it. There is more demand for housing than there is supply for housing. For the people in the back, let me say it again. Today and in the foreseeable future, there is more demand for housing than there is supply for housing. Now, the Martini Mortgage Group is based in Raleigh, North Carolina. However, we help families all over the U.S. The shortage of homes available is not just in Raleigh, North Carolina. The shortage of homes is a national challenge that is not going to be resolved anytime soon. In fact, according to research from Fannie Mae, in the U.S., there is 3.8 million to 5 million homes shorted. This shortage will not be taken care of in a year or even years. It will likely take decades for supply and demand to become balanced. Now, I could go deep into why there's actually a shortage of houses, but I will save that for another episode of the Martini Mortgage Podcast. The key point is the shortage is a reality, and the current demand is a reality. And as you remember from economics class, when supply is low and demand is high, that means there will be upward pressure on pricing. These people that are writing the obituary on housing are crazy. These folks that are predicting a rinse and repeat of the housing crisis of 2008 are insane. Let me state an indisputable fact with you all. 2008 happened not because of a recession. Housing caused the recession. Yes, you heard what I said properly. Recession does not mean housing crisis. Let me share another indisputable fact with you all. We all need to have a roof over our head. Some will rent that roof, and others will own that roof. Again, we all need a roof. And the need for that roof is not going away. There is nothing wrong with renting, and there is a time to rent. However, that time is not now. Let me take a hot second to share another fact with you all. Nothing ever goes up forever in a straight line. All quality assets will go up and reach a higher high, and then will retrace a little, and then it will make another higher high. Then it will catch its breath again and retrace, and then reach a higher high. When real estate retraces, it's really just recharging. This is not a hypothesis. This is a fact that has been proven. Remember that real estate is a long-term investment, and over time, real estate goes up and makes higher highs. From time to time, real estate may come down, and then it goes back up. Now let me shift gears on Raleigh mortgage rates, or mortgage rates for any city for that matter. Mortgage rates live in the bond market. They are not controlled by the Federal Reserve, nor do they live in the stock market. Mortgage rates live in the bond market. The nemesis to a bond is inflation. In the simplest form, inflation erodes the return of a bond, and to attract more buyers, a bond has to increase its yield. And poof, higher yield happens, meaning higher mortgage rates. Listen, the Fed will get inflation under control. The challenge with the Fed, well, is many challenges, but one of their major things is that they are late to the party and they stay too long to the party. When inflation is tamed, mortgage rates will drift lower. Yes, home loan rates are just like tides at the beach. There's a high tide and there's a low tide. Sometimes there's an epic low tide causing historic low rates like we saw during that evil pandemic. And then there are high tides where we are today. However, I've seen even higher tides that have created home loan rates in the double digits. Here's the great news. There is no expert or pundit predicting double digits. However, they are predicting rates to start with a 4 in as early as 2024 to 2025. Everything I have just shared so far is not just nice to know, but crucial to know to fully understand your opportunity if you're a first-time home buyer or as a repeat home buyer, because there are 4 stages of home buyer demand. If you understand the stages, you will be able to get a sweet deal, even if you're buying with a higher rate with low demand. Let's dig into the 4 stages of home buyer demand. Let me give you an audio visual for a second. Imagine a stoplight, but that stoplight actually has 4 lights on it. At the top, there's a red light. Then below that, there's an orange light. Then there is a light green light. And at the bottom, there is a bright green light. These 4 colors represent the 4 stages of buyer demand. Red represents weak buyer demand because of the current mortgage rate environment. At the time of this recording, I would define weak buyer demand when a mortgage rate is greater than 7%. Orange represents limited buyer demand because of the current mortgage rate environment. In recent times, that would be when home loan rate is somewhere lower than 7, but not higher than the mid-6s. The light green color represents good demand because of the current mortgage rate environment. In the current market at the time of this recording, that would be when home loan rates are somewhere in the mid-6s to right at 6%. Finally, the bright green color represents strong buyer demand. In 2023, fixed mortgage rates starting with a 5 or below is like putting gasoline on the fire and represents bright green in the buyer demand. Now, you know the 4 stages right now of demand. It goes from weak to limited to good to strong. Now let me go back to the basics that I mentioned earlier. We know there's a shortage of homes available, and that shortage is not going to be resolved anytime soon. Shortage of supply with pure demand for housing means home values will go up over time. Let me make sure I say this one more time. There may be moments that home values retrace, but that retracement is just a period of time where real estate is recharging and getting ready to make a higher high. Bold statement? Not really. Let's look at history. In the last 5 years in North Carolina, the average cumulative appreciation was 59.31%. Since 1991, the average cumulative appreciation for North Carolina real estate was over 291%. Let's assume that this year home appreciation is flat because we are in the red zone, and the red zone is defined as weak buyer demand. Once we go to orange and then light green and then ultimately bright green light is illuminated, I believe this will be like steroid injection into home value appreciation, and we're going to be off to the races just like we were during the pandemic. One of the biggest mistakes that home buyers today are making is comparing the current real estate and mortgage market to the pandemic market. Let me share. The pandemic was a once-in-a-generation event which provided unspeakable home loan rates and record-breaking home appreciation. So there's no misunderstanding. I do not think we will see rates where they were in the pandemic again. However, it is very possible that we will see something similar to the appreciation levels we've seen in the pandemic again. Oh no, you are thinking you missed it, but you missed nothing. If this is you, remember that old Chinese proverb because it's spot on. You know the one about the tree? It says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the second best time to plant a tree is right now. With that said, let me give you a Kevin Martini proverb. The best time to have secured an epic mortgage rate that you could brag to your grandchildren about was during the pandemic. And the next best time is right now. You know that demand for homeownership over time is not going anywhere. And you know that mortgage rates will improve. When, not if, when inflation is under control. So why not take advantage of the red and the orange stages to reduce your competition and take advantage of a seller's willingness to participate to make things more attractive for you? Then consider this nugget. You have locked in your baseline for your home purchase, and you're protected from paying a higher premium for that home later. Plus, you can refinance that home loan to a lower rate once the rates enter the bright green zone. In addition, when the bright green light is flashing, sellers put unmentionable demands like waiving inspections, asking you to pay over list price, and requiring no appraisal contingencies. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association, in 2024, mortgage rates will start with a 4. And did you know that with a temporary seller-funded buydown, many of the families I help as their certified mortgage advisor, today they are getting a home loan rate that starts with a 4. So the families I serve today are truly experiencing a win-win-win situation. They are buying in a tight real estate market and getting incentives to do it from the seller, and they have an interim low rate today. Then once inflation is controlled and mortgage rates go to what the Mortgage Bankers Association projections are, then we refinance together. Plus, they have the equity gain and potential tax benefits of home ownership. I guess that's really a win-win-win-win. understanding the 4 stages of buyer demand, and understanding the unique opportunity the red zone offers with keeping your eye on the bright green zone is the secret to getting a legendary deal in real estate today. I know that I shared a lot in this special episode of the Martini Mortgage Podcast. This has been curated to give you just a glimpse of the 4 stages of buyer demand and how to seize a win-win-win homeownership path if you're a first-time home buyer or you're a repeat home buyer. For questions, I invite you to give me a call personally. Again, my name is Kevin Martini. My office number is 919-238-4934. In closing, is buying a home right for you and your family? I don't know. However, I do know you owe it to yourself and your family to explore your options. And I'm here to help you explore those options. Thank you for tuning into this special episode of the Martini Mortgage Podcast about the 4 stages of buyer demand. Please share this episode with someone you think may benefit from the content. And always know, if you want trusted advice from someone that has a caring heart, I am here. My name is Kevin Martini. I'm a certified mortgage advisor with the Martini Mortgage Group, and I am located in Raleigh, North Carolina. However, I help families all over the U.S., and you can reach me by dialing 919-238-4934. Looking forward to connect. Stay safe out there, and wishing you peace and blessings.